Hi everyone. This presentation is just a brief summary of my own internship experiences, so I hope that you all enjoy it. And so for starters, my name is Amanda Chandler, and I chose to complete an internship at the Department of Social Services, which is located in downtown Lynchburg. And so also throughout this presentation, instead of saying the Department of Social Services every single time that I mention the site, I will be referring to it as DSS. So to give a little bit of background about the site, again, the Department of Social Services is located in the downtown Lynchburg area on 9th Street. Tamara Rosser is the director of the Social Services Department. DSS is one of 120 local departments in Virginia's state supervised, locally administered social services system. And so DSS administers federal, state, and local public assistance and various social work service programs, such as temporary assistance for needy families, also known as TANF, juvenile services, an amazing solution-driven program called Bridges Out of Poverty that helps community members establish an economically sustainable life. And so there are other programs that help the community members and families, such as foster care services and child protective services, which are two areas that I spent most of my time during my internship. And so as for the responsibilities I had during my internship at DSS, my main responsibility was to shadow or observe case managers and social workers in foster care and child protective services. And so in order to do this, I would coordinate my own schedule with the worker's schedule so that I could attend various court cases, home visits, and watch interviews being conducted by social workers and case managers. So, as for my learning goals and objectives, prior to starting my internship, I plan to gain knowledge about various policy practices that are used to advance the social as well as the economic well being of the community members. And so that is basically what DSS is all about through the use of numerous programs and services that they offer to the community. To increase my workplace communication skills, I would definitely learn how to network effectively and appropriately, but to also stay true to myself. I do realize that it is okay to show my personality, but to do so in a professional manner. No one should have to be a shell of their real self in a professional setting. However, I can say during my internship experience, it was very difficult for me to branch out and try to make myself known by the workers at DSS. But in order to make the most out of my experience and learn, I knew that I had to communicate effectively with each and every one of the workers to gain the most out of my experience while being there. And so now it's time for me to introduce the themes that I found to be very visible and relevant during my internship experience at DSS. The first theme that I found to be very apparent and relevant within my own internship experience was the understanding of power dynamics. Human services workers are often seen by their clients as part of the majority group. And so the workers at DSS talked about how it is really important to recognize the imbalance of power, because if you don't, then clients will often say what they think the workers want to hear instead of what is relevant and useful during the helping process. And so, with that being said, it is important to establish a sense of trust with clients and act appropriately when recognizing power imbalances. And so, prior to interning at DSS, power dynamics was not an aspect of social work that I had truly thought about. But I do realize now that it is important to not overlook or ignore them, because it is all part of the helping process. And so also imbalances of power are inescapable. They even form a part of the client's identity, which is important to recognize in a helping relationship. So, aside from the client's identity, it is equally important for the human services workers to establish and uphold their own sense of identity as well. So, the second theme that I felt was appropriate is the idea of self awareness. So, knowing and accepting your own social identity is crucial when it comes to helping others and dealing with power relations. So when you take the time to reflect upon your own life experiences, it can sometimes serve as guidance when dealing with clients that may be going through similar situations. And so it's also helpful to reflect upon your own personal thoughts, ideas, and beliefs. I know that the workers at DSS say that it can be pretty tricky to work with clients that have differing ideas and beliefs other than their own. However, through the process of self awareness, the worker has to find ways to separate their personal belief system from their professional ethics and roles. And so it is equally important to recognize that the client is the expert of his or her own life. So workers have to be able to engage in practices that are sensitive to gender, ethnicity, sexual orientation, and various other factors, regardless of differing opinions about certain subject matters. And so lastly, self-awareness can help personal as well as professional development. If workers know their own strengths and weaknesses, they can effectively help their clients and develop as well as maintain proper helping relationships. The last theme that I found to be very important during my internship is the idea of self-care. So during my internship experience at DSS, I could easily see how the workers could experience burnout with the excessive amount of documentation that they complete every single day. And so it was really hard for me to imagine how the workers care for themselves when they are constantly looking out for the well being of other people. However, I know that it is important for human services workers to take care of themselves and realize that they are human and that they have the right to be healthy and well. And so I am sure that some of the workers may feel guilty when they think about their own needs, but I think that guilt is a necessary obstacle, and it's normal to feel that way if a worker is invested in their client's needs. And so I know that it is important for social workers to take care of themselves and do things that make them happy and healthy, and to participate in various activities that they love to promote personal longevity. And so, as a brief side note before I wrap up this presentation, I definitely feel that my experience as an intern at DSS made me grow as a person and challenged me in many different ways. So I stepped out of my comfort zone and I tried my hardest to put myself out there with the hopes that others will recognize my potential and my willingness to learn and grow in the discipline. And so I must say that the experience itself was overwhelming, it was challenging, fulfilling, and even very exciting. And so I experienced all of those feelings all at one time. So I definitely felt uncomfortable too at certain moments. I had never really been forced to sit back and think about and examine where I came from in relation to other people in the community. And so I had to think about those aspects of my life and what they signify, which is why the themes that I chose for this presentation were super important and relevant to me. And so the themes that I explored were not only relevant to the lives of human service workers and their clients, but as I said, to my own life as a college student. And so it is important for me to practice self care when I feel that I'm becoming bogged down with school and work by taking the time to do things that I enjoy. And so, with those themes in mind, I would like to pose a question to you all. So, are there any instances or situations that you can recall within your own life as a college student or in general that can be linked to any of the themes that I mentioned during this presentation? And so, again, the themes are power dynamics, self awareness, and self care. So I hope that you all found this information very useful and you enjoyed it as well. I also hope that your own internship experience was absolutely amazing. And so thank you all so much for tuning in to this presentation.